The Great Pretender has become one of, if not my favorite anime of 2020. Taking a little bit of inspiration from Lupin the Third, this show brings you in on one of the biggest cons of the century, which turns out to be just what the doctor ordered for such a horrible year. Usually when a great anime like this comes out, you see tons of fan art for it, lots of conversation on Twitter, and even merch. The only thing I could find on Amazon is a freaking coloring book. I need the art book stat. That aside, it made me a little sad that more people aren't talking about how great it is. So I decided I'm going to take it upon myself. This is your spoiler warning for episodes 1 through 3. Starting with episode 1, I decided to focus on the visuals because this show makes a huge impression. One of the reasons The Great Pretender is so distinctive to me is the backgrounds. They have a pop art aesthetic with bright colors that bring light into most every scene. Even when the colors are cooler or darker, the use of light still makes each location feel lived in and lively. One of the reasons why this is so interesting to me is the fact that a lot of anime I've seen have very cool or dark backgrounds to make the characters stand out from the environment. I feel like GP. Can I call you GP? GP has a style that's a little more realistic, with the people and backgrounds sometimes blending together. Moving away from the environment, one of my favorite things about this show is that most everything has a purpose. For example, Laurent, an experienced con man, uses subliminal messaging to give our character, Makoto Edamura, just enough clues to put the puzzle together. One of my favorite moments of the series actually happens right after Edamura figures out Laurent has brought him into the fold. It reminds me of how my mind was constantly being melted while watching the movie Focus, where Will Smith's character uses a very similar technique. What makes these moments of surprise so much better is the exaggerated, cartoony expressions the characters make. For the most part, they give realistic expressions, so when we finally see a jaw drop or eyes bulge, it makes the moment even more fun and comical. Their character designs also help the audience gravitate towards them. Take a look at Laurent, for example. Blonde hair and Hawaiian shirts doesn't exactly scream discretion, which you would expect from a con man. They call for your attention, perhaps to distract you from something else. Since I'm still learning what all's encompassed in sound design, for now let's just say it's the way the environment is created via sound. I'll also be lumping dialogue into this category. Now the interesting and frustrating thing about good sound design is that it's hard to notice. But bad sound design sticks out like a sore thumb. So forgive me as I try to figure out what makes everything tick. Episode 1 is really brilliant in the way that it uses non-American accents to distinguish the differences between the characters and how this story is unique to Edamura.
Oh my god. Looks like I need a tunnel to escape. How long are you going to follow me?
Just long enough to get my money back from you.
The plane ticket costs more than that.
I'm Japan's top scam artist.
Most of the time, unless you're watching something subbed, I feel like you lose the uniqueness of origin and ethnicity because things are said in your native language. Although the setting is different, I still feel like I can relate to the character more because we speak the same tongue. For example, I never really thought of Goku as Japanese growing up.
Wow, that's strange.
Daddy, I lost my hat.
What? Silly. No, you didn't. It's on your head.
Yes, he somewhat looked and acted the part, but he sounded like someone I could meet here in America. The emphasis put on culture and origin is emphasized by Edamura's love for the small Japanese figures that holds a little bit of Japanese history. It really drives home that this group of people don't come from the same place, and that's exactly why this odd team works. Their different experiences, talents, and even origins help them play their part in the big con. After both characters and audience become familiar, bam, we switch to a normal dub.
I'm gonna jumble you! I'm warning you, pissing me off is a bad idea!
Oh, so mad. It's cute.
Don't you laugh at me!
It is a really cool but subtle way to build on different relationships at play. Since sound design is a little hard for me to pin down, I have 4 other things that I was really impressed with. Number 1 being Qasr Mohammed's performance as Abby in episode 1. It was insane. Just listen to this.
My clients are too prestigious to get their fix from candy.
that from just one little piece of candy?
Just imagine how a normal person would react after seeing that. Yo, what the f? Oh, hell nah. I'm getting out of here before she decides to chew someone's face off. During a flashback in episode 2, when Edamura finds out he was scamming people at his day job, he stands in a state of shock. As Kudo tries to cut a deal with the police, Edamura begins to block out what's going on around him, with the sound becoming slightly muted with reverb.
Say, couldn't you just do me a solid and let the young fella off the hook for this one?
We then transition to a super visually intense moment with red highlights standing out from the shadows to signify the danger Edamura feels he's in. We also have the conversations between Edamura and his mother, who is sick in the hospital. Over the course of the episode, you can hear how her sickness has affected her voice as time has passed.
Be grateful for the opportunity, all right? Never give up, no matter how difficult it gets. The world's not going to come to an end just because you made a mistake or two. You're still young.
Very good acting and direction there. And then something as simple as adding waves of the ocean near the beachfront to complete the atmosphere really puts the cherry on top of it all. The soundtrack features mostly jazz fusion with some breakaways for the softer, more delicate moments of the show. Episode 3's soundtrack has a whole range of emotion, but before we get to that, I have to talk about my favorite musical moment. Now I might be reading too much into this, but during the scene where Edamura sits down with the director to talk about his film, the music coming from the movie player is diegetic in a non-diegetic kind of way. Diabetic? No. Let me explain. So diegetic music is music that we, the audience, and the characters can hear. A good example of this would be the beginning of Into the Spider-Verse, where Miles is bopping to the beat of Sunflower. So non-diegetic music is music that only we, the audience, hears, like the Avengers theme during a battle. Non-diegetic music is more for the audience to feel something. In this case, it would be Edamura's emotions about this terrible film.
That's because they don't understand. The heroes in your movies are fighters. The kind that would never give up, no matter how bad things get for them. Even when they don't stand a chance, they fight with everything they've got to protect the people they love.
The swell of the music drives home that Edamura understands the director's purpose for the film and is moved by it. And this is all very cleverly disguised as music that belongs to the movie's title screen. We also have musical moments of inquisitiveness, unease,
Good work.
and chaos. All these elements create the perfect atmosphere for a great story. The story continues to build on these elements as it matures and changes with each arc. The first 3 episodes focus on a kind of coming-of-age story. We follow Edamura as he learns from the confidence men and women, and we'll see how that affects him as a person. He really grows throughout the series, and you'll see he has his reasons for staying in the game. One of my favorite things about any production is watching the chess pieces move and not knowing where they'll go next. Even when I'm able to predict an outcome in GP, it never happens quite the way I thought it would. None of these things could have been done without the following people: director Hiro Kaburage, character designer Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, who did the same for Neo Genesis Evangelion, and story from screenwriter Ryoto Kosawa, who has actually written a TV miniseries and movie called The Confidence Man, interestingly enough. All in collaboration with Wit Studio, making it their 3rd original series following their popular manga adaptations of Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga. As I was doing research for this video, I found a cool little tidbit from Polygon about the end credits song. They reported, in 1987, Queen's Freddie Mercury released his cover of The Great Pretender, a 1955 song performed by the Platters about pretending to be perfectly fine and happy after experiencing a heartbreak that leaves you sad and alone. But as Freddie described in one of his last interviews, the song had additional meaning, mirroring his own feelings about his stage persona and career. In life, the musician said, he pretended to be various characters, all while hiding who he really was and how he was really feeling. Trust me, after watching the show, this quote is going to hit like a ton of bricks. I also have to thank the amazing cast, specifically Alan Lee, who plays Makoto Edamura, Aaron B. Phillips, who plays Laurent Cherie, Kausar Mohammed, who plays Abigail Jones, and Laura Post, who literally plays some of my favorite characters in recent memory. In the show, you know her as Cynthia Moore, but she also plays Kasumi Yoshizawa in P5R, who's really sweet and enduring, and Yuki Takamiya, who is just a badass in Aegis Rim 13 Sentinels. I've had a lot of fun revisiting The Great Pretender, and I hope you have too. Hopefully it ends up winning some awards at this year's Anime Awards, because I believe it deserves much more praise. I also hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video, because I was thinking of doing it a lot more. Thanks for making it through the end. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya!